have it, there's two straps, but they use one. You have to hold the bottom up against kind of your lap, and then throw the picking.
Be a good place to play paintball.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you got on there and it's again, you'd be surprised that this will do it in 6 weeks.
Yeah, they say an average growth on mandarins is 1 to 2 millimeters per month. So 3 to 4 weeks you can, I mean, so in 6 8 weeks you can gain a size, 2 sizes.
Wow.
And really getting fruit off. You generally take about half off. It helps the trees crop for the next season.
She's ready to pick.
So yeah. Anyway, yeah, I mean they're coming here. And so, I mean, it's a little bit different. They're filling up bins and bags a little bit quicker, but it is a pretty tedious process.
A huge size difference, too.
Big time. And so, I mean,
3 times the size.
An orange crew, I mean, they're moving all day. Like I said, you're doing 7 8 bins, so you're less ladder work. An orange bag is 60 pounds.
Ooh.
12, 14-foot trees. You're on a big ladder, and so
Up and down the ladder constantly.
Do you get paid more for the oranges versus the mandarins?
So in orange, so for example, we pay it's piece rate, so it's per bin. We pay the pickers $25 per bin. We pay $55 on mandarins.
It's less.
When it's all said and done, the amount of money they make per day, because the amount of bins they do is different, it's all about the same. Like an average guy's doing 120 to 150 bucks a day a picker, whether they're picking lemons, whether they're picking mandarins, whether they're picking them. There's some guys that do better. People are better at it. They go faster. They do a better job. Some are new. They don't do as well. It's more preference on the bag, the ladder work, and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So like a lot of the labor that came into mandarins, this is all actually pretty new relative to how long oranges have been around, maybe 20 years. A lot of grape crews that pick grapes got into the mandarins. Like I said, a lot more women were picking mandarins, where you go to an orange crew and there is like no women out there. You might maybe one, and a lot of times it's a husband and wife, and the husband's doing all the ladder work, wife's picking the stuff at the bottom. But you go into the mandarins and you'll see, I mean, there's 19-year-old kids out there doing it on the weekends, and college kids just making a little bit extra money and things like that. But it is a skill, believe it or not. I mean, picking quality, long stems, injuries, claims, decay, a lot of this stuff. What we do see is you start getting a lot of new people in crews, the picking quality just drops big time.
Yeah.
So it's a delicate balance, right? We want to harvest a lot of fruit. We have, on any given day at Porterville Citrus, 1,500 to 1,800 people that are harvesting for us, across the board, all the varieties. So we got 3 guys that are watching, 4 guys actually watching all the crews. We can be picking in 50 different spots. And then we also have 2 temp employees that are just bouncing around helping. So when you have crews that have been doing this for a long time, their experience, you don't got to keep an eye on them. They're just really good at it. I mean, they're not even trying to do good. They're just so used to it. But you get crews that got a lot of new people, and they don't know what they're doing. They're trying to go fast. I mean, and so it is a skill. And there's been a lot of new labor coming in, and that's raised some issues with harvesting quality. So we have to be, pretty diligent with the new people, and patient, of course, to a certain extent. I mean, if it's just so bad and they just don't care, and it's like, hey, this isn't going to work.
Yeah,
exactly. And we have H2A from Mexico. It's about 25% of our labor, which has really kind of solidified the labor market, and kind of there's at times a bidding war of who's going to pay more, and it's day to day. I mean, there's no contract for a lot of these picking crews. Like, they don't work for you and then no one else. I mean, they may show up here and go somewhere else the next day. So we do have H2A that comes in, like I said, about a quarter of our labor, and that's really kind of solidified things for us in managing supply and getting enough fruit harvested every day, especially with these rains. How it's been the last 2 years. I mean, you're picking 2-3 days worth of fruit in one day sometimes. So I think our record, we went for 200 loads of fruit we tried to pick the other day. We came pretty close. Came up a little bit short, but
you'll get there.
Yeah. It was 9,700 bins, so we were about 6 loads short of 200. So, and I always let Jeff know we're picking a lot of fruit. So
I love it when he tells me what they're picking.
This is just, there just gets too much fruit. It gets too heavy, and these limbs. So these trees actually used to be navel orange trees, and they were budded over. So what they do is they cut all the limbs, and you just get kind of 3 big limbs, and you insert the budwood of a mandarin. over about 2 years it takes, and it starts growing mandarins. Yep. So you get
Well,
this
that's what you do
happens.
with most citrus, don't you?
Yeah, I mean,
you don't kill the root. You keep the root,
and you can bud them over. But you can plant new tree. Essentially, it's the same process in the nursery, just on a much smaller trunk and tree.
When would they be picking these over in here, this area?
You know, we started picking mandarins probably mid-January. Yep.
Care field.
Yeah. We'll make you peel these.
all right.
Ooh, that's a sharp knife.
Oh yeah.
You've done this once or twice.
Oh
You done
yeah.
it way more than once or
You
twice.
should see when we bring the export customers.
Fresh.
Yeah, I get in trouble for not having a cut one.
I mean, it starts producing lemon trees, same thing. Grow fast, very vigorous. These things just grow really, really slow. The bugs, the pests seem to like them more for whatever reason.
These are some really nice sized caracaras.
A lot of the navel over other varieties now because the navels aren't as popular.
Yeah, well, a lot of these are the later varieties of navels. They just don't produce for whatever reason. They bloom faster, oddly enough. The late maturing one blooms faster. So there's always carrying 2 crops, so they don't set a lot of fruit. So a lot of guys have kind of gotten away from them, and it just not enough bins to the acre to cover costs or to make any kind of money.
You're going on actually.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot. I mean you're putting all this money into this. Everything's on consignment, and then you're growing that crop, got all the money into it, then let's see what happens. And there's
Flip the coin.
exactly. I mean whether it's weather, market conditions, all the rain, wind, freeze. I mean, there's a lot of factors and stuff. And there's insurance and stuff to kind of protect some of that stuff. But it's quite the endeavor. So these varieties that are a little riskier, or they kind of feel like aren't moving as fast, or a lot of guys are getting away from that stuff. And navel orange, just kind of lemons, mandarins, and caras are the core 4 varieties for Porterville citrus. I mean, that makes up almost half our total volume. And then we have organic, some other things, but. It's a big one for us. We harvest about 2 million carton equivalents a year of caracaras. Yeah.
Versus
Trees, we could talk a little bit about the grove and the tree if you guys are interested.
sure. I don't know if they are, but I am.
All right, cool. That's all that matters.
Yeah. I always like to do this.
Down there right now.
Oh yeah.
So here's kind of the difference between what they're pruning and then the row that they're not. Okay.
Right. Now this is pruned because it's just too much.
Well,
This
so
is
there's a
pruned
couple
because they're
things
seeing
going on here, right?
some bad areas,
You got a little bit of dead wood here, right? And so really, obviously, this isn't going to produce anything. This is going to cause you a lot of problems when the wind picks up. A lot of that wind scarring,
whip it around.
you're dropping from fancy to choice here with these kinds of branches, right? And so some of that has to do with that, but you can just kind of come in here and see, how clean this tree is. Really, what you're after here is really 2 things. You want sunlight, obviously penetrating all the way through the tree as much as it is about the dirt.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The other thing is, and you can see some of these fresh clips here on the side.
Yeah.
When you come in here and you spray nutrients, you spray jib, you spray for bugs, you really need good penetration from these spray rigs, right? And so getting out all of this non-fruit bearing, leaves and branches is really important to allow that penetration of that material.
There you go.
It's my favorite part of the tour. Okay, so this is an alternative to pesticides, right? And so farmers are always getting knocked for, you know, not being stewards of the land and pesticide usage and all that good stuff, and there's a lot of truth to that at times. But this is a pheromone that is released here, and it attracts red scale. You guys are all familiar with red scale. I don't know if I can find any. What this does is it attracts the male to this little area here, and so obviously knocks down the ability for the bug to reproduce. And so it's pretty expensive. There's actually a map to how you have to place them on your trees. So there's a map, and this again knocks down sprays. So it's all done by hand, so it's fairly expensive. Yes, exactly. So it's a fairly expensive process. But again, kind of saves a spray. So, you know, when you have some heavily infested years, it's kind of a double whammy. You know, some of the problems with some of the pesticides too is just like an antibiotic, right? The more you use it, the less effective it becomes. And so, trying to find alternatives like this is really something that we're working to do out in the field.
Along that line, going other route. Do you use bees too?
Do we use bees?
Yeah.
We don't use bees. Actually, I mean, there's, you know, naturally bees, and the beekeepers love to bring their bees here.
Right.
You know, but we don't necessarily purchase bees like some of the nut guys do. Some of the nut guys actually hire beekeepers to come out. The beekeepers are the opposite for us. They
pay us to put the bees in the grows. And,
yeah.
Oh, they do.
Because they don't need, these trees don't need to be pollinated, they're self-pollinators.
Okay.
And so, but I mean, bees will come in, and then a lot of the local guys, you know, make their honey and all that. That's all for juice.
it's like over 600,000 square feet or something. So we start the rootstock seedlings, grow them in the seedling houses, and then we'll bring them out here. And they'll take the buds from the variety that we want and craft them onto the rootstock. We have just under 2 million propagations. And grow them out about 3 months, and then we'll send them on to other wholesale nurseries who will put them in like a 1 gallon or a 5 gallon and grow them out bigger, and then ship them out to Lowe's, Home Depot, retail garden centers.
Yeah.
So I always like going into Lowe's because we have little strip tags with our variety on it, and if I see that, I know it started there.
That's pretty awesome.
It doesn't have our name on it, but that tag is unique to us. So if you guys see it, you know that. So that way we could get there eventually. We do have a box program that we're doing. We've started getting it into supermarkets, but that's a little bit bigger tree than this.
Where's the tags?
I'm sorry?
The tags?
With the tags.
No, I was saying where are they? What kind
Oh, these are the CDFA number.
And that's how we'll know they came from here?
Yeah, in California, every citrus tree has a CDFA number that gets tracked from the mother on down to the consumer. That way, if something ever happened to this tree, they can trace it all the way back to where the tree came from.
And does this only go to California like Lowe's, or is it across the country?
Cross country.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You want to stand over there and hold me the tag?
I'm going in my local Lowe's to see what we got going on.
This is where they'll be for about 3 months until we finish pushing. And our finish is 5 mature leaves, and then we'll send them out to the customers or send them across the street to be plentiful. You can see some of these were just done a few weeks ago, and the buds already pushing out. So that's how quickly they'll turn around and stuff. Finished probably in about, or these seedlings will be ready to be propagated in about 10 to 12 weeks. So we'll make them, sit on them for 3 months while they grow out, and then send them in to the customers from there. But we always have around 1.1 to 1.2 million seedlings going year round to meet demand. This is where the new acclimate, so you typically have more of an outside environment in here. There's plastic over the floor right now just because it gets cold here. So you have to keep it, pick up it from the top. The sides go up and down, so you can just run it off and keep it down, opening the sides and turning on the fan. You basically want to replicate the outside environment in here, but because of the quarantine, we still have to stay in a green environment so the bugs don't
So everything in here is a tree.
Yeah. different varieties. Trying to see if any of the other ones had names on it. I don't know what that is. Dancy.
Lemon.
Newsy lemonade.
Lemonade.
we were doing it in the greenhouse and it was really successful. So we built this house that now we're doing all vertical growing inside here. And this is mainly a retail product. So we're gonna send it to grow it out a little bit. That's ultimately what it ends up becoming.
Probably all fruits. You know it.
So that's why you don't see a whole lot of product in here. We can actually grow in here year round, but to one of our efforts to save electricity and utilities, we said let's shut this down. There's not a lot of demand in the winter. Whatever we need to ship, we'll stick early in the year and get it finished and turned around quickly. So we just started. They did this many in about a day and a half. I think they can do around 10,000 cuttings in their line.
You said they could out of the estimate gallon pot. And they sell for themselves.
Yes. And we even have a lot of retail burn centers that'll buy these, put them in themselves. And then we also have a program that they're fully rooted, and they'll put that little thing in a 1 gallon pot and finish it and rooting it out in about probably 8 weeks, and then sell them at retail. Like some of the retailers I know are selling them for like $28, $29 right now, and they're only getting them from us for $2.50. So there's a pretty big profit margin. Yeah.
And what
Water in here.
Ooh, hey, look at my glasses.
I took mine off.
I thought something got. I'm like, what just happened to me? You gotta take your glasses off.
Take your glasses off.
When it's cold outside, I can
Most
hide
important
in
thing in here.
Well, yeah, there's plenty of. I don't know who she was saying participated in that program, but these are some that we finished the liners last fall. We held them and then they just got planted a few weeks ago, and you can see some of them already pushing out quite a bit. But they'll come back in a few weeks and stake these, and these are actually scheduled to go out this spring as well. So these, well, they'll probably go out in about July because they're a little smaller. But this is, we transplant them into a pot. This is a older pot. So that's the newer design pot. We grow in 100% coconut core, and the core tends to fall out of the holes. The pots are designed to root prune, air prune. So when it hits that window, the root dies, but then it also splits off into kind of other roots. So that's efficient, but it drops core everywhere. So we redesigned the pot, so now it's actually got roots. So instead of air pruning, it's been directed so it goes straight down. Inside the pot, there's roots. So you don't get the air pruning, but we're still preventing the circling. We're pushing them. These ones got a little bit behind because we had some potassium issues, but we've got it straightened out now. So these will ship probably in July as well.
What's potassium?
Potassium. There was too much potassium in the core. The coconut core, you want to buy it from somewhere that has a lot of monsoons because the rain will naturally wash out the high potassium in the coconuts themselves. And do they?
Quite as
Yeah, I think it was some false advertising from them that, oh no, we wash it 4 times, and you didn't. But so we fixed it, we figured out the problem, and now they're pushing, and so those will go out in July as well. If they do find a bug in here, those doors are closed, so this is the only area that's affected. We can still operate in the other areas. And all of the blue and yellow doors that you see are actually automatic doors. They'll go up and down on their own when they send the person coming. That one's probably the only one that stands on. Doors will actually two sections of greenhouse. That's greenhouse, and then the other section over here is greenhouse as well. And this middle section is screened, just like on the other side. Everything has to be acclimated. So we use this whole area for bringing it out for 10 days when we ship it, but we also overwinter a bunch of stuff in here. So if it's finished over there, once this is in here until it's ready to be shipped in the spring. Most of this stuff is probably going to move in March, April. So it's ready to go now. We're just waiting for the growers to call us and do their yeah. But they have to wait for the rain and the chance of frost to clear before they're ready to plant. Of neighbors.
you would know.
When we go to the gym, my daughter loves to focus on it, and I was like, oh. It's weird, there's other people sitting around, and I can't take my phone in there because it's too high.
These are still pretty short though.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of give you guys all met me. My name's Nick. I'm the director of farming. I'm a young guy. I've been in citrus now 11 years without the most fun, intricate tree citrus wise that I've ever been a part of. This is the oldest block we have, so it's kind of cool you guys get to walk into it. This is what they look like at full maturity. There's a point in keeping them short, small, and to a specific degree, somewhat bonsai. So if you guys know bonsai trees, how they are, I mean, that's strategic. So there's layering and whatnot going on, and a game of play of setting fruit in a certain amount of fruit so that we have the right size. With size, that dictates taste and maturity and all that throughout the season. So it's strategic. We don't just do it because it looks pretty. So we're on the Griffith Farms properties. Most of our sumos are all on drip irrigation, so micro drip. So you see 3 hoses. The middle hose is your fan jet hose. So fan jets are strictly here on this block for frost control. So when it gets cold during winter, we'll run water. Water radiates heat. And then we'll run the fans. That helps keep the fruit safe. The drippers, they run drippers on sumos because sumos are real delicate to water. So we're really playing the game of really running the trees lean throughout the year, and that helps drive the flavor profile and whatnot, and the sugar to acid as the fruit matures close to harvest. It's not like a navel tree or something in your backyard where you go out and you flood it. That's not what we're doing. It's a real short dosing program on these trees. It's pretty neat. As you see,
what's the life of one of these trees then?
the life, it's funny you bring that up. That's come up in conversation. So my past experience has been with traditional mandarins, so Halos, Cuties, and all the other brands. When mandarins started, it was like a 20-year window, right? This is what we think it can be, and I've yet to see some of those exact mandarins that they thought were 20 years. They've now hit the 20-year mark and they've gone strong. I think we've learned a lot about resetting the tree, making big large cuts and regrowing them just as if they were coming out of the nursery, because the roots and whatnot are still strong on the tree. It's about vigor and profitability. This spacing, you may not feel it, but this is 16 by 9, so you have 16 feet this way and 9 feet between each tree. That's 303 trees to the acre. Okay, so everything we do, the way that I think and the way that the managers that work for me, is down to the tree cost level. So like, for example, we're pruning this tree. We break down all our costs associated with just this tree. Then we figure out how many trees we have per acre, and that's how it works back. And it's the same thing. You can set so many pieces of fruit per tree to pay for all that cost incurred with growing the fruit and farming it throughout the year. We're in the swing of things farming right now. As you guys can see, all this push right here, this is all our future fruit. So everything, we're farming to this right now. This is our money. So we're fertilizing, we're spraying foliars, and we're in full swing right now. Even with the rains, we're working around it. So we have a trial going. This is early application. It's going on for dogs. We're looking at covering these trees. I'll go into that. Cover them and keep them protected. We need moisture ones for very long decades. Yeah. I'm gonna pull this bag. So when they pick these, and we'll walk over and see it, it's a double clip. I don't have my clippers are in my other truck. So what they're doing is, and we'll go over there and see it, they clip, it's off, and their totes in front of them, and they clip the stem off. So that top around this right here is really, really sensitive. You don't want it to go to the packing house with any kind of injury at all. So they're clipping, bring it in front of them, and they make the right clip.
They clip down into it? Or
No,
they
it's,
level
as,
with
long,
the top?
as long as it's level. I mean, you'll see they're using a little bit of a curved clipper,
Okay.
but it's a double clip system always.
So when does that come off then, when it's at the picking house or the packing
Over
house?
here.
Okay.
While they're doing it
Yeah,
on the ground.
over here. What I did in leaving this pull, we don't want either. So this basically, it's a terminal end. It will never, until you cut it, it's not going to grow a piece of fruit again. So that's also why we cut and do what we do with that.
Sets up for the next growing season.
Yeah. Sumos, so you guys see it. See how they're kind of evenly spaced out along the tree? A little sporadic bloom here that we had a real crazy season, obviously, with all the rains we had last year. There's strategy with it. So there is a strategic play in having so much space in between each fruit and so many pieces per tree. That ensures you size the fruit to a right size. This is going to peak, I think the last time I saw it, 6, 7, 8. This fruit, as you look at, see how this stem's a little bit turned like this? Most of the season, this growing until this fruit got to this size, grew like this. So you see a lot of this fruit hanging, that's because of the weight. A lot of the stuff you see up top, when there is fruit up top, that's how it is. We strategically don't set a lot of fruit on the inside of these trees. There's a different flavor profile associated with it. So thinning and whatnot that we do is focused around the inside of the tree and the top for sunburn. We do go through and thin twice, 2 to 3 times a year. So thinning is driving size and the spacing so that there's no injury with what we're growing.
Are we able to grab one and kill it? You can see, not about it.
That's off the tree.
Yeah? You run out. I'll go 5. I like
So you said y'all don't do the coloring like everybody else be doing, because I've been noticing they've been doing some kind of color on the fruit.
Wait till they all get here. Yep. So the fruit on the floor, that's normal this time of year. So early on in the season, significantly less fruit. That's the nature of the game. Farming, we try to offset quantity, you know what I mean? A later picked fruit, you try to offset more pieces on the fruit, on the tree, with the expectation you're gonna lose some to decay and whatnot that's going on. So these are the totes that they pick with, okay? So, yep. So you'll see they're all wearing a gown and they while they're picking. You may be able to help me with this, but I know my numbers. Typically it's around 24 to 26 pieces of fruit per tote.
Yep.
Okay, and they come in around 3/4 of a pound a piece of fruit. So when you're doing your equivalencies with the plastic and everything, I use 1 for 1 on the bins.
Right, yeah.
To make it easy for me. And then you'll see these are all loaded on a pallet. There's 48 of these on a pallet. So if you
really protecting the fruit compared to
oh yeah.
It protects it from basically a pack pressure of a regular big bin. You know, you're having 600 pounds of food on top of the bottom layer. So.
And then when these go to the truck, they go on a curtain rig. It's a big, big long double 18-wheeler that has a curtain side. So when it's going down the road, no wind blowing on it. They're strapped down, air ride, everything. I mean, it's top notch.
More than any other type of citrus, right?
Yeah.
Too high.
So we do track internally as we're picking. We track how many totes per hour the crews are picking. So there is kind of a standard target rate. I mean, they got to get their loads per day. If they're given 4 loads, they got to go out and get it. But these people are paid hourly, so it is not piece rate. So you look at what we're doing, pruning, we're doing thinning. It all is a strategic play to help them pick and be more efficient, get the right size fruit, quantity, all that, and be profitable. So if you guys want to walk down, you'll see them clipping. Correct. It'll injure another piece of fruit on that.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm sorry, I missed. I know you covered it. Are they counting how many are going to the tote, or is it still?
They're not counting. I mean, we're using it. This is peaking on a 6, 7, 8, or size-wise. That's around 3/4 of a pound per piece of fruit. That tote should be anywhere from 25 to 30 pounds. Fruit weight. You know what I mean?
Scarring.
Yeah, it's scarring. I mean, and this is decay. It happens. I just wanted to show you guys what off bloom looks like. So you mentioned, I mean, you can even see it here. You got one setting, that's off bloom. So that isn't fruit we want to pick. So I wanted to show you another version if I can find it, because they're on here still. Give me a second, unless they did an amazing job thinking. So, a couple things I wanted to show you guys that I forgot to do when we were over here. I talked about the kaolin clay. This is what happens to the side of the fruit when it gets sunburned. So it doesn't ruin the piece of fruit, but it's not edible at all. This whole side of the piece of fruit, if I had I'd cut it with my knife, but it's all granulated, dried out, it's water.
Wow.
The cell walls just break on it. It's as if you froze it and restarted the fruit again. You know what I mean?
Spray won't, like a heavy rain, come off? Or?
It's real sticky. I mean, it's rained a decent amount this year, enough to make these clean. It's still sitting on the tree.
It's spraying one time, or?
No, we're spraying 2 or 3.
Okay.
Yeah,
As needed.
yeah. I mean, I want to say we get all super scientific about it, you know, checking UVs and all that, but if it's 105 plus for 6 weeks straight, well, it's basically on a rotation, 3 to 4 week rotation. You know. Obviously this is decay, this is some better rashing, but this is thrips damage. So California citrus had a huge thrip issue this last year. Also got this one too, because this is the flat side of the sun, as it saw, and it flattened out. This is off bloom. So yeah, it looks like the sumo, the cobbiness of what they talk about, but this super cobby typically has a really long neck. That's off bloom. It bloomed 2 or 3 weeks differently than the rest of the fruit. The normal phenological process of the tree. It doesn't taste right. But if we cut this right now, I would bet my life that it's granulated and dry. It's drying out, yeah. And then it's not edible. And it'll go to the house. Like, they'll pick this, it'll go to the house. You guys will see, they'll kick it. They got brick sensors and everything else that will see this, that'll kick it out. So it's important for us on the farm to go through when we're thinning. Again, everything's green when we're thinning, to pull the cobby, long neck, irregular bloom off the tree.
How many times of pruning did you say?
That's the trailer. So where all those totes, once they're full, they come back on that trailer, and that's where they get loaded. So the one row over where we were at, that trailer was almost full. He was about to head out.